As many of you know, former President Donald Trump surrendered himself to authorities in Georgia yesterday. After his arrest, he prepared on Fox for a quick interview where he explained the process of being booked in Fulton County, Georgia. He called the booking experience terrible and stated, "I went through an experience that I never thought I'd have to go through. But then I've gone through the same experience 3 other times. In my whole life, I didn't know anything about indictments, and now I've been indicted like 4 times." That same night, Donald Trump's mugshot was released, which immediately made his critics cheer. However, Trump is more strategic than many give him credit for. After getting over 250 million views on Tucker Carlson the night before, he returned to Twitter for the first time since 2021 to fundraise off the new mugshot. At this moment, Trump's post is near 200 million views, which means he likely made a good amount of money off of this. Now, what has happened is basically what they call a eucatastrophe, where everything is looking like a disaster, and then last minute, it becomes a good thing. So Trump is using this momentum to his advantage in order to get more press and more publicity than any other human on planet Earth. While interest in Trump is at an all-time high, interest in other candidates is at an all-time low. Ratings from the first Republican primary debate are in, and they're not good. In fact, Fox News is furious. In total, the debate got 12.8 million views, which is 240 million views less than Trump got on Tucker Carlson's interview. Furthermore, back in 2015, during Trump's first primary debate, viewership was double that, almost 25 million. So it does show that going on Tucker Carlson sucked a lot of the attention away. And my guess is a lot of the people that watched him love Donald Trump, and a lot of people that hate him but can't keep their eyes off of him also went over and watched. Now, the White House has attempted to cover up for President Joe Biden as backlash from his response to the Maui wildfires continues to worsen. Just for some background, the backlash started when he told reporters that he had no comment on the wildfire disaster. Now, keep in mind, this is the worst wildfire in over 100 years. Over 100 people at the time were known to be dead, children missing, families broken up, people swimming, doggy paddling in the ocean. It was a disaster, and he said, no comment, very callous. Well, now Press Secretary Olivia Dalton from the White House stated he didn't hear the question. He absolutely didn't say no comment when it came to Maui. Now, let me know in the comments down below. Is this total BS? Or is President Biden hard of hearing and he just doesn't wear hearing aids? Let me know down below. But I believe that this is them backtracking, because if not, it's even worse. It means he didn't make a comment of his own free will and choice, of his own volition. He chose to stay silent on a national catastrophe for the people of Maui. So I don't know. It may be worse to say, hey, I was just being callous because I was distracted, or I didn't say anything on purpose because I don't care about those people, right? It took him it took him a couple of weeks to get out there and say hi to those people. Sadly, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell claims that inflation is still not on a convincing path to improve at the U.S. Central Bank's annual conference in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Jerome Powell stated, although inflation has moved down from its peak, a welcome development, it remains too high. We are prepared to raise rates further if appropriate and intend to hold policy at a restrictive level until we are confident that inflation is moving sustainably downward towards our objective. Now, their objective is 2% annual inflation. Some are saying they may need to come off of that, but that is their goal. And so most likely interest rates are going up, which means everything will become expensive if it's linked to debt. The state of Louisiana, Chevron, and the American Petroleum Institute have sued the White House and President Biden for attempting to cancel a lease sale on 6 million acres of land in the Gulf of Mexico to protect an endangered whale species. API Senior VP Ryan Myers stated that the government is attempting to backtrack on promises made in the Inflation Reduction Act. He stated, despite Congress's clear intention in the Inflation Reduction Act, the Biden administration has announced a lease sale in name only that removes approximately 6 million acres from the Gulf of Mexico for sale and adds new and unjustified restrictions on oil and natural gas vessels operating in the area, ignoring all other vessel traffic. So basically, in order to get this bill passed, they said, listen, we're going to sell and lease more land so that they can pump more gas, which will lower gas prices. Now gas prices are going up. They're not doing those land leases and they don't want to pump any oil. Do you see? This is called backtracking and lying, right? That's exactly what's happening. And gas prices are going up very, very quickly. Now, General Mark Milley of the military, a Joint Chief of Staff member, has asserted that the U.S. military has decided that they will remain in Syria for the foreseeable future in order to combat ISIS. He stated the ideology is not yet dead, and there are some ISIS terrorists that are still roaming the deserts of Syria and somewhat into Iraq, so that presents a threat. A lot of people know that the United States is in Syria in order to control the oil fields, but now they're saying it's to control ISIS. Perhaps it's both. I don't know. Russia's Kremlin is denying that they are responsible for the plane crash that killed the Wagner chief, Yevgeny Prigozhin. Spokesman Dmitry Peskov stated, all of this is an absolute lie. And here, when covering this issue, it is necessary to base yourself on facts. There are not many facts yet. They need to be established in the course of investigative actions. However, witness testimony and video evidence seems to support that the plane was shot down or exploded. Furthermore, members of the Wagner mercenary group have already called for an attack, or called this attack an assassination. So they are definitely going to be going after Moscow unless Moscow can somehow prove that Moscow, the Kremlin, and Vladimir Putin were not responsible. Ukraine has reportedly just carried out its largest drone attack on Crimea to date. The Russian Minister of Defense claimed they stopped 73 attack drones in just 24 hours. While it was admitted that explosions did hit a base, it appears the attack was largely stopped, which means Ukraine likely wasted a lot of money accomplishing very little. Now, I did read that there were a lot of deaths, and that wasn't covered in this particular report. And so to be fair, it does look like Ukraine was able to kill quite a few Russians, but it does look like Russia was able to kill quite a few drones. So anyway, this war just continues. Elon Musk has responded to the lawsuit I told you about last night, where the Department of Justice has pressed against SpaceX because they failed to hire enough refugees. Musk stated, SpaceX was told repeatedly that hiring anyone who was not a permanent resident of the United States would violate international arms traffic laws, which would be a criminal offense. We couldn't even hire Canadian citizens because Canada, being part of NORAD, this is yet another case of the weaponization of the Department of Justice for political purposes. Now, remember, the Department of Justice hates the fact that Elon Musk purchased Twitter and made freedom of speech more available to the American people. They have said little things like, we'll be investigating Musk and this may be their way in. But let me know down below, do you think that they should hire people just because they're a refugee? Or do you think these people should be American citizens? They should be able to get security clearance and they should have skills to send rockets into space. Let me know your thoughts down below. Now, real quick, I want to thank today's video sponsor, Mr. 1920 Soap, the best soap on the planet. Smells so good, you guys. If you haven't picked up a bar or 10, go do that right now. They are great. I will leave a link down below. Look how chunky that bar of soap is. It lasts forever. Smells so good. They've been a very loyal and incredible sponsor. They're an American-based company. The soap's made in America, sold in America. Go support Mr. 1920 Soap. Now, before you go, I want to remind you that you are amazing. I really appreciate how much you guys support the channel with likes, subscribes. My team and I, we do hours and hours of research because we want to keep you in the loop. So thank you so much. Before you go, check out these important videos. Have a great weekend, and I will see you on the next video.